Hello, everybody, and welcome to Comic Book Goes to the Movies. This is, of course, one of your hosts, Zach Elliott, better known as Menace of Games, and with me is our other ghosts, guests, peoples.
I'm a, I'm a ghost? I thought that I was just,
Yes, you are. So, what other ghosts do we have here today?
I thought that I was just the Tiger Wolf 55.
You are Tiger Wolf Casper now,
And Sean Basinger, the Fox and the Fedora.
and you are the Box Ghost. There we go. Oh, wait, I'm sorry, the Fox Ghost.
Do we have to worry about the Ghostbusters now?
No, they're in retirement.
No, they're teaming up with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
And the Transformers and Michael Bay and the Star Wars people. It's a very big crossover that will never see the light of day. I mean, wouldn't you want to see a movie where it just teams up all your favorite pop cultures together in just one 90-minute film?
That would be way too big.
I believe that was called the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Okay, guys. So, this was the big weekend. This was Comic-Con weekend. And oh my gosh. Anyway, first things first. Turns out that Stan Lee had to cancel abruptly his Comic-Con appearance this year because apparently he has laryngitis. So we wish Stan a speedy recovery.
Yes, we do, of course, and we, of course, hope that he does recover completely and be able to make a few more appearances.
Get well soon, Stan.
So first up on the big list of Comic-Con announcements, turns out that the Amazing Spider-Man series is going forward. It just got pushed back a few years, so now you got Sinister Six in 2016 and the Amazing Spider-Man 3 in, I think, 2018.
Yahoo.
Well, that kind of would help out a little bit, especially since that, they said that Sinister Six was pushed to 2016. Is that right?
Yeah.
That kind of would help out considering that in 2015 we're going to be getting Avengers 2, and that's going to be basically all right for Marvel's summer that year. So I think they're going to be fine for that summer because it's Avengers 2. It's going to be a huge, big deal. Like, it's already hyped up beyond belief.
Well, it's the hype is starting.
The hype, yeah, true. The hype is already starting, and like and it's sort of like what happened with Amazing Spider-Man 1. It's sort of like the Avengers.
That's kind of how it happened.
That's kind of what happened a little bit. Like I remember I actually did see a few people that had said like, hey, did you remember Amazing Spider-Man? And they said like, it was an Amazing Spider-Man that summer. It was like, okay, what did you see? Avengers. Oh.
That or The Dark Knight Rises.
Oh yeah, I think I remember that me and Sean went to see all three of them and did midnight showings for all of them. Dark Knight Rises was the only one that had a line.
Anyway, so yeah, that was just a quick update on the Amazing Spider-Man. We actually, the big news is, well, the first big news, I should say, is actually coming from DC Comics TV shows, Arrow and The Flash. First off, we have the villain for Arrow Season 3 has been announced, and it is Ra's al Ghul.
Oh no! It's Liam Neeson, isn't it?
No, that's Ra's al Ghul. They're two different characters, clearly. You can tell by the pronunciation in the names.
I keep hearing, like, the cartoon show, it's Ra's, and then on the live-action stuff, it's Ra's. I'm like, who is right here?
Well, I do remember that Batman Beyond actually had a moment where they were talking to Talia, and they were actually talking about the discussion of the pronunciation.
Yeah.
It's like, some people say Rage, some people say Roz. Either way is fine.
Actually, no, she specifically said that it's pronounced Raish, not Roz. And from what I understand it from the comics, Raish is the correct pronunciation.
Then why do these live-action productions keep getting it wrong?
I have no idea.
We'll just blame Christopher Nolan and call it a day. That's what I do with all my world problems. I just blame Christopher Nolan for them.
Yeah, let's face it, Ra's al Ghul isn't exactly one of the classic villains that everybody is familiar with. He was popularized on Batman the Animated Series, and even that doesn't exactly get him into the general public's eye. It wasn't until Batman Begins that everybody started noticing, oh, hey, Ra's al Ghul actually exists, only he's Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more of like the character exists, but we're not gonna say the name correctly.
And we also got confirmation that Grodd is going to be in the Flash TV show.
Oh, Gorilla Grodd?
Yeah.
Oh, very nice.
This is going to be interesting.
I expect to do a cross promotion with the Planet of the Apes.
I'm just wondering how it's like, how they're gonna this big CGI talking gorilla.
Considering the budgets are now done nowadays, I can kind of expect that they could do something like that for a television show. Like they put a lot of money into TV shows nowadays, so it's possible.
Yeah, I mean the CW where these shows are aired, they actually have some pretty impressive special effects. So
Yeah, and I remember actually taking a look at how they were doing the Flash's animations, and oh man, those animations of how fast he could do were amazing. So I can kind of expect that they'll do great when it comes to the Gorilla Grodd animations.
yeah, we'll just have to see what they do. I mean, we already got a lot of the Flash's enemies in the show that have been announced, but I never really expected them to announce Grodd because I was like, you could do all these other villains, but Grodd seems a little tough to do. But no, they're gonna go for it. So
All right, I'm guessing though if they wanted like if it turns out it's like a little hard to do on special effects, they'll probably have him for like maybe a limited number of episodes, or only have him like be in the shadows, or like just only hear his voice. You know, trying to limit the visual times that you'll see him.
I imagine that Grodd would be one of those villains who they only use for like the really big moments, like season opener, season finale type of deal.
Basically, he's just gonna be sitting in a chair. He's gonna go all according to plan. Cut to black credits.
that's it.
I mean, do you need anything else? It's just like, well, kind of like all the fans will be like, Gorilla Grodd! And basically just like anyone who doesn't know who Gorilla Grodd is, they'll just be like, a monkey.
Next up on TV shows is actually from Marvel this time. We got some huge announcements for the second season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the Agent Carter TV series. They're going to be introducing the character of Mockingbird, who is, if you saw Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, she was Hawkeye's partner. And we also got in Agent Carter, they're going to introduce Howard Stark's butler, the human Jarvis, who will go on to tutor Tony, and Tony will be inspired to name his AI Jarvis after his tutor, Edwin Jarvis.
Oh, I thought I just named it Jarvis just because I like Butler names and it had a really cool acronym with it, but okay.
No, the name came first, the acronym came later.
Oh, it just so happens that I was able to make an acronym that worked with that name. It took me like 5 years.
He's Tony Stark, he can do what he wants. Also, let's not forget the fact that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is getting a certain warrior princess in their lineup.
Wonder Woman.
What?
Wrong one.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I'm the person who doesn't know anything about comic books. Let's try this again.
No, Zach, you're thinking way into the future. You're already into the Marvel DC crossover movies that will come in the far, far future.
So the year 2018,
A little bit further than that.
2019.
Good. Okay.
Okay, 2020, but that's my final offer.
But yeah, I actually did hear about Lucy Lawless being casted, and I believe she is playing an original character, but still interested to see what they do with the character, because by the end of last season they made a lot of their original characters really interesting. They had some really neat twists and turns in their backstory, so really interested to see what they do with the new characters.
Definitely. Especially since this is going to be the first action role that Lucy Lawless has had since Cena.
Huh. Interesting.
Yes, truly, truly marvelous, interesting.
All right. So, next big announcement. The Batman 1960 show is finally going to be released on Blu-ray. The big news though actually comes to the you guys know that they're doing the Batman 60s comic book.
Oh yeah, I remember you showed me that when we went to one of the comic book stores. I think like up north.
Yeah, and they kind of restarted the not restarted, but are doing like comic books based on the 1960s Batman show, and they're going to actually turn the Lost episode script into one of the comic books,
Really?
and that's that's fascinating because for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, I got a chance to meet Adam West not too long ago, and I met him. When I met him, I asked him about rumors that I had heard online about Two Face being in the show, and some people were saying, "Yeah, he's going to be played by Clint Eastwood and stuff." He denied it, but I later looked up some more about the subject, and I found out that there was a fairly famous screenplay writer um, who did write an episode where Two Face was going to be the villain, but the screenplay was rejected. So now they're going to turn that script into a comic book.
This should be interesting. I know that the reasons why they said no to Two-Face numerous times was because they considered him too gruesome a villain for the show. I'd really like to see how they pull that off.
I'd like to read that script actually because I'd like to I'd actually like to see how they hammed up Two Face.
If we do actually get a chance to read it, I of course would love to play the narrator.
That's yeah. It's gonna be really interesting to see what this comic is gonna look like, what the script actually had for Two Face, and I don't know when it's coming out, but I'm gonna be keeping my eye out for it because I know this has been a long time rumor on the internet, and to see it actually, at least in a comic book, would be really interesting because I remember there was a short promotional uh, episode that was probably no more than about 10 to 12 minutes long for the third season of the Batman show, where they introduced Batgirl, and they had a one-time villain in this promotional short, and it was Killer Moth.
Hmm. Great. Memories are coming back to me. You showed that to me.
Yeah, it's like just
That's how my life started like that. You began my insanity when you introduced me that Batgirl clip.
You can't blame others for your woes.
so yeah, we'll have to see what that comic book is going to look like. Moving from Batman to Superman, actually, for those of you who may not know about this, Zach,
No. I know what you're about to talk about.
what am I about to talk about?
You just say it, and then we'll see if I know.
Uh-huh.
Before Superman Returns was even thought of, Warner Brothers and DC Comics went to Tim Burton to make a movie called Superman Lives.
Well, they went to a number of people. Tim Burton was just the one that came the closest.
Yeah, that's true. Um, this would this was going to be basically the story of the death of Superman brought to the silver screen. Burton and his crew casted Nicolas Cage to play Superman, and they were gonna have
The Nicolas Cage Superman debacle.
Brainiac be the villain. Doomsday was gonna be in it. Batman had a cameo, and I think Kevin Smith wrote the first draft or something like that. And it was gonna have, I think, that crazy blue outfit Superman wore after his resurrection. Not completely sure.
Yes, that was going to be the one with the neon glow Superman. With his powers coming from his liquid living suit.
Superman is ready for the rave.
And that's one joke that I couldn't tell.
But the reason I bring this up is because they are bringing out a documentary as to why the project never worked, and we actually get to see test footage of Nicolas Cage as Superman.
The death of Superman Lives.
Hello, I'm Nicolas Cage. I'm Superman. I'm gonna save Lois Lane. Yeah, there may not be any bees.
It is truly amazing what they thought was actually going to work for this movie.
Yeah, I know. It's like I don't know. I don't know how it would have turned out because I don't know. I don't know everything about the early days of production. I only learned about it a few years ago, and I was like, "What? Nicolas Cage was going to be Superman? Really?" So
Well, I read up on all the production notes that I could find back when Superman Returns was going to be released. And let me just tell you, it was going to be a disaster. Everything from removing Superman's powers to focusing on his alienation to making sure that he fought no, not him. Brainiac was going to fight two polar bears. And you know the giant spider that we saw in Wild Wild West? That was supposed to be in this movie.
wait a minute. Wait a minute. Let's backtrack for a second there. Okay.
Take 2 steps back right now and repeat everything you just said from. Okay, this is how it's gonna be.
Wait a minute. Brainiac was going to wrestle two polar bears?
He was going to invade the Fortress of Solitude or something, and they wanted him to fight polar bears.
I would pay money to see that.
Oh no.
My money's on the polar bears.
And I think at the end of the movie, Lex Luthor and Brainiac were supposed to merge into Lexiac. It, it was just a mess. Granted, it wasn't the worst idea that had come out for the Superman movie in the 90s. The first one with John Peters was probably the absolute worst, but yeah, this would have been a train wreck. People are obsessed with this movie not because they want to know how good it could have been, but how bad it could have been, how entertainingly awful it would have been.
I would find it to be one of the best movies of all time, regardless of whatever anyone says. Right, I'll put it right up there next to Superman 4 and Batman and Robin. It's probably one of the best comic book movies of all time. Even I can't keep a straight face at this.
Okay, this movie sounds incredibly I don't there are no words. There's just so much going on that it's like, wait a minute, what?
Again, they wanted to remove Superman's powers entirely, and these people thought it was a brilliant move.
Wow.
So they're gonna limit him even more than what a video game could probably nerf him.
Mm-hmm.
Good grief.
On the plus side, Michael Keaton would have probably reprised his role as Batman for the funeral.
Or they use Val Kilmer or George Clooney.
No, it was confirmed they would have gotten Michael Keaton.
Oh, hey, well that's kind of cool.
I think I definitely want to check out this documentary now because I'd love to hear what the crew was thinking, what was going on behind the scenes during the early days of production, where they just finally, threw up their hands and said, "Nope, it's not happening." Um,
Well, then cough up $85,000. That's what they're asking for.
hmm.
I'll pay them $7.37 and say close enough.
Well, yeah, it's going to be an interesting documentary. It's called "The Death of Superman Lives," and can't wait to see it. So.
I'm gonna put that on my Christmas pre-order list right there. It's for the kiddies. I'll tell you that.
All right. Next up, we move into Marvel real quick. We have some Ant-Man announcements. We got found out who the villain is, and we also found out that we're gonna get a character named Hope Van Dyne, who's gonna end up being Hank Pym's daughter, and I guess everyone's expecting her to become the Wasp.
Pretty much.
Makes sense if they don't want to have the love interest kind of thing and have her just become the Wasp.
And then you got actor Corey Stoll playing Darren Cross, who will become Yellow Jacket.
Hmm. Hmm.
Reactions to this seem to range anywhere from "this is really cool" to "this is really lame."
I don't know. I mean, I think with the direction they're going, having it be, I mean, Kevin Feige said that it's going to be kind of like a. Not only is it a heist movie, but it's also kind of like a mentor mentee movie. It's kind of like an old superhero passing on the torch to a younger superhero. So I think because they're going this route with Scott Lang being introduced as Ant-Man, they don't have time to, of course, make Hank Pym Yellow Jacket and go through all that. So to make the villain just Yellow Jacket, I think it could work. I mean, there aren't too many Ant-Man recognizable villains out there, so
Let's face it, how many people even know about Ant-Man himself?
Well, then again, if we had to really think about it, the true enemy to Ant-Man is Spider-Man. Wait.
No, no, the true enemy to Ant-Man is just a shoe.
an ant has no quarrel with a boot. Boot man.
Bootman. And Bootman, with his main signature attack, boot to the head.
Okay, but seriously, it can work. It'll be interesting to see this, as it's not something that we've seen in most superhero movies. The legend or Mask of Zorro way of going. At the very least, it should be entertaining.
Yeah, we'll just have to see how it does, and just wait and find out if any of the setbacks with like Edgar Wright and some cast members leaving will endanger the production. But we'll see if they can bounce back from this. Who knows? Maybe it'll be a really fun movie.
Here's hoping.
So then we've got Avengers 2.
Who cares about that? I mean, we already got one Avengers. Do we need another?
Yeah, you're right. It's not like it's going to be one of the most hyped up sequels of all time, similar to how Dead Man Chest was or something like that. I don't know.
Do not even make that comparison, dude.
Well, then again, well, you do remember that Dead Man's Chest had so much hype onto it, and then it flopped. Then it just went meh.
It was one of the most successful movies of that year.
Yeah, true. Well, then again, it was because of the hype. Everyone loved the first one, and everyone was so hyped up for that second one, and then meh.
And then they did the same thing for the third one, and it did gangbusters too. You're confusing the reviews with the box office.
So they played some like a trailer last night, which a lot of people were really happy with. Basically, it starts out with I'll run through the trailer here for you guys. It starts out with kind of like a lighthearted scene. It's the Avengers sitting around, and
Not in their costumes.
yeah, not in their costumes, and they're actually reading the "Whosoever is worthy" thing on Thor's hammer, or just they're just trying to like figure it out, and they think it might be a trick or something, and so Tony comes over and it's like, if I lift it, do I get to rule Asgard? And Thor says, yeah. So Tony's like, okay. And so Tony's like, yeah, I can do this, but of course Tony can't do it. He even gets Rhodey to come over and help him, but it still doesn't work. I think Banner tries it. Steve Rogers is the only one who comes close. Um, Tony is like sitting there going like, okay, no, I think I figured this out. It's like keyed to your fingerprints, right? It's biometric. But Thor just goes, no, it's simpler than that. You're all not worthy. So then we get this ringing sound, and then Ultron comes out, and he's like in the body of a broken down droid or Iron Man suit.
It's supposed to be multiple Iron Man suits cobbled together, I think.
Sorry, I just put this together, so it's not that good, but it'll look better in the movie.
And he comes out and he's like, you want to protect the world, but you don't want it to change. There's only one path to peace, your extinction. And then we get the classic montage kind of thing we got from that one Avengers trailer that premiered at the end of Captain America: The First Avenger, where it's basically just Uh,
Heads turning because we haven't filmed the action scenes yet.
well, there's action scenes filmed. It's just very quick, um, early early renders of the fight scenes in movie.
Obviously, they haven't had time to get into the effects or a lot of post production yet.
But from what was described, it sounds like it's really action packed because you got tons of fight scenes in there. You got Banner. He gets like he's like lost in this wilderness. You've got
I heard that he's in a straitjacket at one point
yeah,
too.
he's in a straitjacket. You got and here's one interesting thing. They actually saw motion capture master Andy Serkis, who you all know and we all know actually from his memorable performance as Gollum from The Lord of the Rings. He's not in motion capture though. They actually saw him just a close up shot of him with a beard, and people are speculating that oh my gosh, is this the Mandarin? Is this like the real Mandarin now?
It could just be a random guy. I'm not going to jump onto the Mandarin bandwagon just yet. I mean, they did hint at the fact that we could be seeing Mandarin down the line, and it would be awesome if Andy Serkis were to be playing him. But I don't know. Just hearing that he's in a beard, it doesn't tell us anything really.
No, I agree. I'm not, I'm like, well, I don't see there's so much already going on in this film. Do we really need the Mandarin to add in there? I mean, even Joss Whedon was like in the first when he was working on the first Avengers, it was like, oh, I got Loki. That's enough.
hmm Now, he did say that he wanted this one to be a lot bigger than it was last time, but I don't think that that meant Loki. I mean, in this one, you're going to have Quicksilver, the Scarlet Witch, um, Hydra. They're obviously going to have something to do with this, since the tease that we got at the end of Winter Soldier, and of course, Ultron and his entire robotic army.
I actually think he said he wanted it to be a little more condensed. Like he's obviously we're still going to get like big battles and stuff like that, but I think he's trying to make it more personal, which may open up the doors for adding more characters this time around. Which, as we can see, we got, as you just said, Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver, Hydra's involved. But when I hear like, oh yeah, and it's possible he could be playing the Mandarin, I'm like, well, that feels like there's a lot going on if you put the Mandarin in there. He's almost along with Hydra. It's almost like they're overshadowing Ultron now.
Hey, real quick, my 2 cents on on Andy Serkis with a beard.
Yeah.
I was actually taking a look at like what he looked like to kind of get a fresh idea of what he actually looks like with a beard.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, I was thinking that maybe they could do a Doctor Strange. Maybe, maybe not.
That would be an interesting twist on things.
Yeah, and plus considering that Andy Serkis can play kind of strange characters, and Doctor Strange is a pretty strange character already. Lack of better terms, of course.
I'll admit, if that was to be the case, one surprise on us because
Yes.
they secretly casted Doctor Strange and have him in the movie, and that would be incredible. But I don't know. I think it'd be too soon because I don't know. I think they want to reserve his origin story for his movie. Although you're right, I think if he was to play Doctor Strange, I think he could do it. But I
Maybe,
don't know.
maybe like sorry, maybe that like this could be a way of like saying like Doctor Strange's movie could actually take place after the events, and this sort of continues it, or maybe this could actually be Doctor Strange before Doctor Strange.
Well, that's an idea, but at the same time, well, let's say you're right. Let's say he ends up being Doctor Strange. If that were the case, then when they got to the Doctor Strange movie, his origin story would have to be told either as a flashback, or then we'll just have to do the origin story at the beginning or something like that, and skip past what he did in Avengers, and then go to his solo movie. So
Well, this is what I was saying: is that in Avengers 2, he's not the superhero Doctor Strange. He's just the normal man before Doctor Strange.
hmm.
So in other words, like we get to see him before the origin story. You know, see, like who was he before he became the superhero Doctor Strange?
Hmm.
And then in the Doctor Strange movie, he would get his origin story and become the superhero.
Have to figure out a way to get that into the story. Although interestingly enough, there is a part in the trailer where Black Widow is in a medical bay reaching for some surgical tools, and Doctor Strange starts as a surgeon.
Which makes sense, of course, and I think when he becomes the superhero, his hands aren't as good for surgery anymore.
No. He has an accident where he can't use his hands anymore.
That's the whole reason why he went to the Sorcerer Supreme.
Oh, my hands can't work. Sorcery!
Hey, in a universe where magic is a solution, why not?
Hey, I'm not complaining. I would totally do that if my hands stopped working. Magic. Get that magic. Magic. I will have it. Magic the Gathering. What?
But we also have to remember that there are rumors going around that Joaquin Phoenix is in talks to play Doctor Strange.
There's a lot of rumors going around. I've heard tons. There's always rumors going around. Now, one part in the trailer that got me laughing. Okay. You guys are familiar with the song from Disney's Pinocchio, I've Got No Strings to Hold Me Down?
I know it well enough.
Ultron sings it. It's official. Ultron is a Disney villain. Or at least I think Ultron sings, like, I think the last verse or something like that, but just the fact that he sings it, it's like, wow, I did not expect that.
Things you would never expect a Marvel character to say, I've got no strings to hold me down, to make me frown. I messed up the lyrics. Next thing you know, I'm gonna hear Loki singing about a whole new world.
No, I would actually expect Red Skull to be singing about a whole new world, since that's what he wants to introduce.
Well, oh yeah, and considering where he is right now, so.
Okay, that's it. What Disney songs should other supervillains sing?
All right, we'll do a little quick one. Loki's got "Can You Feel the Love Tonight?" So.
I would think Loki gets "I Just Can't Wait to Be King."
Yeah, or Hakuna Matata.
Oh no.
Okay. Let's see. Abomination.
Let It Go.
No.
I think just that or like Abomination. Do you wanna wreck a city?
Oh
No,
no.
do you want to smash a city? There we go.
Oh no.
Okay. For Whiplash from Iron Man 2, I would give him Jafar's song from Aladdin, the Prince Ali reprise when he's taking out Iron Man.
Okay, wait a minute. Okay, now what about let's see. What about Malekith?
Malekith?
Malekith. Let's give him Hellfire.
Yeah, let's give him that one. Let's see. I feel as though we got to do a good one for Spider-Man villain. Spider-Man's got a lot of good villains that we could just work that in.
No, wait, hold on. First, I wanted to say who Winter Soldier would get. I know you. I walked with you once upon a dream.
Seriously?
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, actually thinking about that actually does make perfect sense.
Yes.
Oh wow. Okay, guys, it's getting crazy now.
It's so much fun.
I guess we'll just leave it to you guys in the comments if you can just try to think of funny scenarios for Marvel villains to actually sing Disney songs. Just put a whole bunch of suggestions and we'll take a look and maybe we'll put them on our Facebook page or something.
Yeah, in the comments, right? Which Marvel villain should sing which Disney song?
And we're talking any Marvel villains here. It doesn't just have to be from the Marvel franchise. It can be from X-Men, Spider-Man, whatever.
Yeah, just go to town.
The only limit is that it has to be a song from Disney in particular, so you can't use other songs from other materials.
Yes. Next up on the Comic-Con list, we got confirmation that Guardians of the Galaxy 2 will be released July 28th, 2017.
Woohoo!
Yay! The second greatest movie of all time.
The first Guardians film, which is out next weekend, is getting great reviews so far.
Oh yeah, I've been hearing so much. I think I've heard like best Marvel film ever made.
I think it's still at 100 on the Rotten Tomato meter.
Yeah, and we'll have to wait and see how it does at the box office when it's officially released. But we also, at the Marvel panel, Josh Brolin came out with the Infinity Gauntlet for the end of the Marvel panel, and it was actually Robert Downey Jr. who introduced him, and then Josh Brolin came out, held up the Infinity Gauntlet, came over to the microphone, and was like, "Where's my rose?" And Robert Downey Jr. handed him a rose, and then Brolin ate the rose.
Wow.
That must have hurt.
Well, he's crazy enough to play Thanos, that's for sure.
Oh yes, of course. And now he can do even more than just turn his head and smile. He can now eat a rose.
Well, at least we know that Thanos is going to be vegetarian. He's going to be healthy.
So we at least know he's giving good morals of eat your veggies, or I shall smite you.
Okay. Okay. So that's awesome. We also apparently have confirmation that Thanos is not supposed to be in Avengers 2. However, people are not ruling out the possibility of an end credit sequence.
Yeah, actually, it was Kevin Feige who actually said that Thanos won't be in Avengers 2, but we shouldn't rule out the post-credit scene, which makes sense. I think that, if they wanted to keep on track of, keeping the Infinity Gauntlet story as their main goal, they want to keep that in the back of our minds, kind of say like, yeah, we're heading that way. But right now, Thanos's role is primarily just like the Emperor in Empire Strikes Back. He's only there to give orders and then just sit in the throne.
Good.
If he yells power in Avengers 3, that will be the most
Oh,
awesome
I think
thing
he's gonna
ever.
say Infinity Gauntlet.
No, it'd be like, it's over, Thanos. No, no, no.
Avenge this.
But yeah, I they're definitely hyping up Thanos, and I think Josh Brolin is gonna do great as the character. Can't wait to see him in action. I know he's got somewhat of a role in Guardians of the Galaxy, but we'll just have to wait and see.
That's supposed to be a relatively small role. Again, Emperor in Empire Strikes Back kind of deal.
Well, of course, I'm just saying that it'll be interesting to finally, hear him speak, and just see what kind of dynamic they're going with in terms of his character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, true. Until then, we only got like 4 days until it comes out. Actually, like 4 or 5 days.
Yeah, it's coming up fast. But as for other confirmed Marvel movies, of course, we already know about Ant-Man. We found out that we found out a little bit more about how they're going to do the magic in Doctor Strange. As Kevin Feige said, that magic is more of traveling or going to different dimensions and perception of reality.
Something told me that they wouldn't go full out supernatural, this is actual true magic kind of deal.
Well, this actually works with what they've already established. When they said that they're going to do Thor, they were like, well, it's not magic and gods. They're extraterrestrial beings with
Advanced technology.
yeah, and so when you want to do magic for like Doctor Strange, it's like, oh, we're actually sending ourselves. Uh, the wizard is sending himself to another dimension where perhaps reality is much different or perceived differently there than it is here.
Science, it's the same kind of thing like Mixie Spitlick from Superman. It's not actually quite magic, but it's the science of another dimension that doesn't quite mesh with ours, and so it appears like magic.
Yeah, it clever way of actually explaining that.
It allows them to keep the whole science gone wrong themes that they've been having in the movies even more so than they have in the comics.
Now, what's really going to be interesting and a lot of fun to do, I think, with Doctor Strange with these different dimensions, is think of what you could do with changing reality in these multiple dimensions. Think of all the crazy ideas you could come up with.
I want an animated segment in Doctor Strange.
An animated world.
I no, I kind of want to see one that's all claymation.
You want the Wallace and Gromit guys to come in and do a scene for Doctor Strange?
Yeah, just do like a 15-second world, and he's just like, well, that's weird.
Hey, we said that they were supposed to be going for a Miyazaki whimsical feel, so you know what? Why not?
What? Yeah, there we go. Why not just get Ghibli to come in and actually just do some? I mean, hey, it actually works out. Walt Disney is actually the distributor for Ghibli films in the U.S., so that works out for them.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see. We'll just have to see what they do with Doctor Strange. I don't know if they'll go that far, but hey, with the idea of different realities, the possibilities are definitely endless. Um, so that brings us to the last big Comic-Con news. Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, and oh my gosh, there's Wonder Woman.
Yes, and she looks incredible. I'm sorry, I'm very excited.
Now, Zach, did you get a chance to see the picture they released?
Oh yes, of course. I actually, in fact, have the picture up right now on my computer to kind of reference, and I like it. I actually do like the outfit. It actually does have a similarity to the original Wonder Woman design, and while still mixing in something that doesn't make it look, too odd. It actually does look like a true Amazon uniform.
Yeah, one of the things that it really reminds me of is that it looks like it came from an island that has stood still in time. It's still kind of stuck in like the ancient Greek times. Now, some of the complaints I have heard is that it lacks in color. Um,
Yeah, it's very brown, I gotta say.
Well, some people have noted that it is probably largely the sepia tint that they have obviously added to the photo. It's very possible that, yeah, the colors are muted, but I think there's probably a little bit more there than what we're seeing.
Yeah, they'll probably include the bit of the red, white, and blue that's supposed to be in the actual costume. Most because like wasn't the idea of the costume to actually be able to actually say like, hey, we're sort of the merger with our island and the world of today.
and I understand why they definitely had to take some of the color out because the red, white, and blue costume. Um, but I do think the costume looks really good, like the sword that she has. Can't wait to see the character in action. Want to see what she's like. Um, and also they released the trailer or a very short teaser at Comic Con. With Batman in his Dark Knight Returns armor pulling off a tarp on the bat signal, turning it on, and there in the center of the spotlight in the sky is Superman, and his eyes are glowing red, or obviously getting ready for a fight. So,
And then Batman's got those white eyes from the animated series.
They're actually glowing. This is a full-on representation of the Dark Knight Returns armor.
So detective mode.
Yes. I'll admit this worries me some just because, again, I don't think that The Dark Knight Returns is a very good representation of either Batman or Superman, but I can't deny this trailer was cool.
I had trouble just viewing it.
what's really cool about this concept once again is, just the concept itself. It's Batman and Superman in the same film. And sure, you've got Wonder Woman, you got Cyborg, you got all these other characters in there, but a lot of people have been waiting for a Batman versus Superman film, and now we have it. So
This is something that nobody thought was going to happen since DC back in 2006, 2007 said, yeah, no, these two are never going to meet on screen. They're two separate universes. They even made a nice little ha-ha joke about it in I Am Legend.
yeah, I remember seeing the fake poster in the background, but
And
hey,
then many years later, they're like, Avengers is popular. Let's put them together.
exactly. But no, it's cool that they're finally together. Cool that it's going to be coming out in 2 years, and definitely looking forward to how to hearing about more of the characters, seeing what they're going to do with Lex Luthor. Still not a lot known about the plot at this time because they're just starting, so we'll have to keep our ears open for any new information on that. Um, so yeah, I'd like to close out today with a question for the two of you, and we'll go one at a time. We'll start with Roy, and then we'll go to Zach. Is there any particular comic book story or story arc that you know of that you would love to see done in a movie?
Complete story arc done in a movie? Uh, this one's hard. No fair. I would love to see. Go ahead, Zach. I need some time to think about this one.
All right. This one I kind of already have, like, kind of had in mind immediately, like right when you said it, because it's the only comic book story arc that I actually really do like and really know of. Because as you know, I am not much of a comic book reader. I kind of just like occasionally just find one every now and again. But the one story arc I would really like to see, maybe on the silver screen, maybe as a mini series, would be the Spider-Man Secret Wars.
Oh, you mean the Marvel Secret Wars with like the Beyonder and stuff like that?
That's right, the Secret Wars.
That would be a lot of fun to see on screen, I think, because uh, I have actually read the original 12-part story arc,
Yeah.
and it's action packed. There's a lot to it. Um, it's a really good read. Um, I don't know if it'd probably be a fairly expensive movie, and it would
Oh
have to,
yeah, because of all of those characters, all of them,
and
so many.
unless they were to do it, of course, as like an animated film or something. But if we were to go and do like, or if they were to go and do like a major motion picture, they'd have to have the rights to Spider-Man, X-Men, So
They would have to have both of those properties back, as well as even the Fantastic Four. I know they make an appearance sometimes.
oh yeah, the Fantastic Four had a prominent role in the Secret Wars.
Yeah, they had a prominent role. I know that Iron Man made an appearance. I probably would say that the best way to do it to preserve the actors better would be animated, and probably have it be like maybe a trilogy or double trilogy, like length, and be able to actually tell the whole story within that amount of time.
It's possible. I mean, there are some really good Marvel animated films out there, and Secret Wars would be a lot of fun to see done in a film, whether it be animated or live action.
Yeah, and all I gotta say is this: like, come on, wouldn't you want to have almost all of your favorite Marvel characters just in one place duking it out? And it's just them, and the only reason that they want to do it is because the Beyonder says, "I want to know the difference between good and evil."
Boy, when you put it like that, it just sounds kind of dumb.
And then after one side is beaten, he'll be like, "Ha! Now for the real final boss."
All right, all right, Rory, you got an answer yet?
There are a lot of different story arcs that I would love to see, both from DC and Marvel. But I think something that would be really, really epic would be the Space Odyssey series from DC Comics, where a bunch of the DC heroes have to actually work with Darkseid to stop the anti-life equation, which has taken on a life of its own.
Oh, good grief! Yeah, that would be wow. That'd be a test for the heroes.
Uh-huh.
It would be a very good challenge, and I know this is that the anti-life equation is very powerful, and even just having it become an entity on itself would make it a very good villain.
That would be something. And don't rule it out. Like Zach said, DC animated universe. Who
I
knows?
know that, speaking of, just a quick side note, they announced 2 more animated movies coming up. It's going to be Batman vs. Robin and an original Justice League movie by Bruce Timm.
Oh,
Oh, nice.
awesome!
And why do I get the feeling that Kevin Conroy and Tim Daly will return?
I would be very happy.
Oh, hey, no complaint, no complaints. I would be fine.
Oh, and we also have the Assault on Arkham movie to look forward to this month.
Yes, that is coming out.
Oh yeah, I forgot that's the next DC Animated Universe one.
Yep.
I got that to put on my list.
Well, we'll have to see where these movies or how these movies do. Um,
Although I do have one last film that I know will never be made. Like no matter how hard we try, it probably will never see the light of day.
what do you got?
Marvel versus DC or DC versus Marvel.
Oh,
That special two-parter that was released. That would be incredibly difficult to do, and is also the one most it's just downright impossible for them to even do right now.
Ugh, good grief, that would be insane.
Not to mention, they'd have to come up with a completely original story since, well, one of the main complaints about that story is it was fan voted.
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess like the only way to say it is that the best way to do it is that the fans would have to agree either fan voted or scientifically accurate. Like they choose people who are either not sided with both or sided with both sides and have them basically say who actually would win in this fight for real.
Get the guys from Death Battle!
yeah. Get the guys from Death Battle to write the
Oh,
film.
oh yeah, which apparently they're actually getting a lot of flag because of the Superman Goku thing.
Oh, come on, people. Goku is overrated. Let it go.
Yeah, only thing is I did actually explain that it did actually make sense scientifically, and I do agree with them. Like the Superman thing, technically, he's already like 20 times more powerful than Goku can be, even at Super Saiyan God that they're supposed to be introducing to Americans soon. So like no matter how hard after all, it's like what they said that which would you want to who do you think is going to win a fight? A man who can break limits or a man who has no limits to begin with?
Yeah, that is the argument.
Yeah, and well, come on, Superman. You can't beat the man who has truth, justice, and the American way. Until he renounces American citizenship, but still.
Superman was here first. End of story.
Goku is essentially the Japanese Superman.
Well, technically, if you want to count the whole story of the Monkey King involving Son Goku, which actually goes all the way back in Japanese mythology.
Well, yeah, retconning. Remember, I don't think that the original Monkey King legend included Saiyans.
Oh yeah.
Or-
Oh no, that didn't become a thing until 1989 when Dragon Ball Z came out. So yeah, let that be a thing. But the idea of like what Goku was inspired by was the Monkey King. So
Yep, that's where we get Master Roshi, Krillin, all those.
oh great, and also a little fun fact for those who don't know: Master Roshi. If you translate Roshi, it stands for Master Master. I'm not joking. Whoops.
Anyway, okay, guys, I think that's it for today. Thanks for joining me again. And we will meet back next Sunday for our big review of Guardians of the Galaxy.